In your book,
Yes.
Gutsy Women,
Right.
I got to disagree with one of them.
Okay.
What?
That's right.
How dare
Controversy.
you?
That's right. Sally Ride. You
Yes.
point. She was the first female astronaut.
American. First
She
female.
died
Mhm.
because at the time I felt. Now you as a mother might be able to answer this better than I. She shouldn't have gone up in space. She had a young child at home.
No, she didn't.
No, you're talking about the wrong woman.
You're talking about the wrong woman.
All right, who am I talking about?
Mae Jemison, maybe?
No, who was the
what
woman,
was the woman
who died?
Oh,
the school
Krista.
teacher.
Krista.
McCullough,
Oh.
I think her name was.
All right, there goes my theory. I thought it was
Yeah.
Sally
I was
Ride.
like, what? Sally Ride was a hero. What are you talking
But you know,
about?
but you know,
Well, let's talk about Krista McCullough.
yeah, let's talk about.
Now I know
yeah.
why you
She
didn't
was
put her
a-
in the book, because you agree with me.
She was no, I don't
No.
agree with you.
Oh, you
but
don't?
No, she was a school teacher. She
Right.
was selected to be an astronaut. What a great honor!
Yes.
And she trained. She had no reason to believe it was going to be a disaster the way
All
it
right.
turned out.
Go ahead.
So if women didn't do anything once they had children, I think that would be a great loss.
Helen Keller, you're right. Listen, no one can.
She's
no one
great.
can. I mean, Helen Keller,
Amazing.
blind,
Yep.
deaf,
Yep.
can't
From
speak,
birth.
can't do
Yeah.
anything.
Right. And I also highlight Anne Sullivan, her teacher, because what a
Amazing.
great instructor she was to get Helen Keller unlocked for the world.
Yes. Did you consider Caitlyn Jenner?
No.
Think about this.
I do, though, have Danica Rome.
Uh-huh.
Danica Rome is a transgender woman who ran for the Virginia state legislature and won and was just reelected.
Caitlyn Jenner, listen, anybody who is transgender in our society has got to be brave. I mean, come on. It is right.
I think it's an incredible...
especially a Bruce Jenner who has this amazing recognizability and history and then has this problem.
I have to admit, I'm like, wow, Bruce Jenner.
Right.
Of all people, the guy on the Wheaties box.
You watched him in the Olympics,
Oh,
I'm
my
sure.
God.
Yes.
And by the way, was there ever a better looking guy in terms of physique
Besides
and
your
power?
first
Look at his
boyfriend
children.
you left for Bill.
Who was better looking? Bruce Jenner when he was in the Olympics, or your first boyfriend who was built like a Greek god?
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Who is better looking? Your husband Bill or the Greek god boyfriend?
Oh, totally different looks. Okay.
Very diplomatic.
Yeah, well, diplomatic but truthful.
You recognize Bella Abzug, who was spectacular.
I adored Bella.
Fabulous congresswoman, right?
And you know, and did you know? And we could have written 100-page books about these women. We only had a few pages. She was also a great civil rights lawyer. I mean, she was down in Mississippi defending people who were charged with crimes they didn't commit. She was amazing.
And you know why she would get ridiculed? Because of the way she looked.
Of course.
With
and
the
her
hat and the
yeah.
whole thing,
talking,
right?
The New York accent, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So in a way, what
She
you're
was
saying with this book is, listen, these are women who have to be recognized. This is your version of the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
You are saying to history, let's not forget these women.
Right. And to people today who I hope will read it, meet these women. Find out about them.
What
Be
about-
inspired.
No.
Inspired.
You know who I would have put in there?
Who?
Joan Rivers. What do you think of that?
That's an interesting idea. Yeah.
You didn't ask me who should
I
be
didn't
in
ask
there.
you.
You never
Are there
consulted me on
any
anything.
comedians in the book?
I'll give you put in Geraldine Ferraro.
I
Now,
did.
this is another one I take exception with.
Oh.
Because I feel Geraldine Ferraro cost the election for Walter Mondale. I mean, who knows? I mean,
Oh,
what
I
do you
don't
want
think so.
All right. Maybe
don't
that's a
think
bit
so.
strong.
Yeah.
But Geraldine Ferraro knew her husband was a questionable kind of character. She didn't, when she was being vetted, she didn't come clean. When I say come clean, she could have volunteered some information and said I might be a problem.
I have a different take on that.
Okay.
And it's this. I know her husband. I do not believe that a lot of the allegations against him were at all fair or well-founded.
Okay.
But we were just getting into the era where people would be picked apart in a way that they had never anticipated before. And so I think, were they ready for that? No. But who was? And so I think her political career, her energy, the way she presented herself, and then she too, toward the end of her life, had this, blood cancer.
Right.
And she went to Congress and testified about it. She was very open about it.
So I'm wrong.
I wouldn't have put
Look
it.
how you're winning this debate.
Look, you have to
look at you.
I'm
putting out a book. But you, in my book, I included Ellen DeGeneres, and you included Ellen DeGeneres.
I did.
She is a hero to me.
She's a hero to me, too.
You know, I remember when she came out. She had the sitcom she came out. I was very proud of her because, again, in show business, I don't care what you say, we remember the days of Rock Hudson when they said, if he comes out, that's the end of his leading man career.
Right,
and even today, when somebody comes out, it's a big to-do.
Right.
And and is that the reason you admire her?
Yes. And the way she handled it.
Yes.
I mean, she is the one who finally said, I can't continue pretending I'm somebody I'm not.
What did you think when she got criticized? She's sitting next to George Bush, and she was joking around with him.
Nothing wrong with that.
That was insane, right?
We need more of that.
Right. Civility.
I mean, come on. Civility, decorum, listening and talking to each other. Enough with the chants and the insults. Let's have a conversation.
Do you know what she was showing George Bush at the time on her phone?
I do not.
A painting of mine that I did, a watercolor.
You are kidding me.
Ellen told me that.
Well, because
I got her in trouble.
Well, you should talk to Bush about painting.
I'm a watercolorist, and he is a watercolorist, and she thought it would be, and she's an admirer of some of my watercolors.
That is terrific.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, did you take lessons like he did?
I did take lessons. I still do.
Good for you.
Yeah, I love it. What do you do for fun? Because I would imagine you need something to unwind.
She's doing an awful lot of reading. I mean, reports.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing that.
4-volume books.
Well, that's because you're a lawyer. Law degree's the greatest degree, right?
Well, it's a very flexible one.
Did you try to tell Chelsea? Did Chelsea get a look? No, she didn't get a look.
No, she got a PhD in international relations, public health.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
My daughter's in the middle of getting a PhD. It's not easy.
Great.
Yeah.
When is she getting it in?
She will be in psychology.
Good for her.
Yeah,
Good for her.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's
oh my God, she
is huge commitment.
I am so proud of her. She's breaking her butt getting that thing.
Good.
But no. But when you think about it, that Ellen DeGeneres, top notch. I mean, you say, look, who's going to argue with Anne Frank? Of course. But the one I like is Greta Thunberg.
Oh.
This girl.
She made it in? Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Now, I mean.
Because we heard about her, we were writing the book last spring, and we heard about her little lonely climate strike all by herself in front of the Swedish parliament.
How many 16-year-olds
can do that? Yeah, I know, holding her little sign.
But these people are like angry with her. They're calling her retarded.
Well, that's because they can't stand the truth, especially from a young woman.
And listen, if I was a young person, I'd be in a panic about the way we've handled the environment.
We are condemning our planet, and it makes me sick.
You would have been something with the environment, I feel. I feel you would have been on it.
I would have been totally on it.
What could we have done? What would we have done if you had done what I said? You should have been the president.
Well,
what would you have done?
We could have done a much faster move toward renewables. Remember I got into all this trouble saying that, coal was going to be, it was going to end, and it is. Right. We've had all these bankruptcies of coal companies. I mean, I was telling the truth, unfortunately.
You should have lied.
I should have lied.
No, but you really should have.
I guess.
Because, if you're too truthful, you end up turning off somebody.
It's a problem. Yeah,
because somebody did lie. Yeah.
Well, you know that almost everyone lies. Because even when you see Sanders,
everybody does.
Even when you see Bernie Sanders, and this was a perception I had, you would say a policy when you were running against him for the nomination.
Right.
And the next day you go, free college for everyone.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you run for a fifth grade class.
Right.
I'll give you free everything.
Chocolate milk for
everyone and more recess.
More pizza.
And then it makes it look like you're a stick in the mud.
I know. And then when you say, well, wait a minute, where's the money going to come from? Then what a minute, are you against free college? I know.
You want people to be
put them in prison, right.
Who else do you have on the list? Let me go real quick because I've held you here way too long. Billie Jean King, I get that.
Oh, yes.
I adore her.
Absolutely.
She did, she also, when she came out, much, before Ellen, lost all of her endorsements, her sponsorships, etc.
But everything that happens in the world of sports based on Billie Jean King for women.
Equal pay.
Yes.
Right.
By the way, your book is #1.
It is good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Will your publisher, Simon & Schuster, buy an ad for you? Because, my book came out at #1, and they said to me, I said, why don't you buy an ad? They go, no, you just talk about it.
That's what they say to us.
Yes, publishing is not very glamorous when you're #1.
It is not, but you've always been #1. Your books have always been
#1. I know, but I wanted a little celebration.
Somebody to do something.
I'm always tooting my own horn. Who's your, did you work with Jonathan Karp?
I did.
Oh,
I did.
Look at you.
I like him.
Nice guy, right?
Very
Smart
nice guy.
Knows
and Priscilla Paynton was also very helpful. She was a good editor.
The editor?
Too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a terrific editor, too. Let me see who else you got. You got Dell'Abate. Maya Angelou. I don't get poetry. I just can't.
Doesn't matter.
She was
what a
such
life.
a personality.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to
first
read
of
your
all,
book because
think
I need more history. Have you read Howard Zinn's book?
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Or is it the recent one?
I just start. No, I'm talking about his classic.
Oh, ancient. Yeah,
I started reading
that.
because I had no. Unlike you,
Yeah.
I did not pay attention in
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
I had other things on my mind. And this is important for me to know. Why is Maya Angelou great?
Okay, I will say number one. We were talking about childhood. Have you ever read her book? I know why the caged bird sings.
Yeah.
Listen,
Just child.
if I told you the books I've read, you'd walk out of here.
Yeah.
Is Archie in that? Archie and
I didn't read
Veronica?
Archie. Yes.
She was a little girl and she was raped and she stopped speaking for 2 years. But while she was not speaking, she was reading in this little tiny segregated town in South Arkansas called Stamps. She read every book in the quote colored library. Then she went and tried to get books out of the white library. And she memorized Shakespeare and she memorized Langston Hughes. And then she recreated herself.
Wow.
I mean, it's such an amazing story. You know, and she wrote a poem, Pulse of the Morning, that she read at Bill's inauguration. Yeah. It was just breathtaking. So she became a friend of mine, but her life story, her accomplishments, she was a Renaissance woman, but she gave, maybe, Robin, she gave courage to a lot of women.
Absolutely.
She really did.
I believe she is the creation of Oprah Winfrey.
When you
say
you're friends with these people, I mean, like you'll get together and hang.
Yeah, when I got to know her, before she died.
Where do you hang with these people?
Usually at a private home.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Is it weird?
No, it's great. Are you kidding? It's great. First of all, I'm like any other person. It's so exciting and interesting to see people that I admire, sort of behind the scenes. What are they like? How do they behave? And to be with somebody like her. And I remember I visited.
Do you get nervous when you go to see these people? Like, what if they don't like me?
I might get nervous with some. I think I was nervous the first time I met Nelson Mandela because I thought he was the most amazing human being in the 20th century.
Well, who do you know could live in a prison his entire life
think about
for
that.
a cause?
Okay, let me tell you my favorite Mandela story.
Okay.
So he gets out of prison. He has said many times, when I walked out of prison, I knew I had to let the hatred go or I would still be in prison. First of all,
how do you do that?
You got to work on yourself because it's not easy. So I go to his inauguration. He gets elected president. And I'm with a huge, wonderful American delegation, lots of people who had supported him, had been anti-apartheid activists, plus people from around the world who had supported him, like Fidel Castro. And, unfortunately, at that point in time, I couldn't say hello to Fidel Castro, so I was constantly avoiding him. But we get to
Fidel was there.
Yeah, Fidel was there. So we get to the lunch, and it's in this huge tent on the president's house lawn. And Mandela gets up and he says, I want to welcome everyone, all of these very important people, all these VIPs. But the most important people who are here for me today are these three men. He calls them by name, asks them to stand. They were three of his white jailers.
Oh, my God.
And he said, these three men in all those years treated me with dignity. They treated me like a man, a person. So I'm sitting there thinking, man, I'm fighting with Republicans over health care. People are saying crazy things. And here's Nelson Mandela literally modeling what you should strive for. So
that's the most moving thing ever.
Oh, my God. It was amazing. I had the best times with him.
I'm so moved by that.
Yeah.
Man, what a guy. What a world we live in when you got guys like that.
Well, there are amazing people.
It's like the second coming of Jesus Christ.
It's people who work on themselves, like you did, going to therapy.
But how did he work?
More credit to you.
Yes.
You work on yourself. Because Mandela, and I spent a lot of personal time with him over the years. And he would say to me, he said, I was a really angry young man. I was angry at the world. I hated white people. I hated our conditions. I hated everything. And I realized that was killing me on the inside. So you have to be self-aware enough. And he was.
You mean he didn't lead a lock her up chant against his opponent?
Or anybody else,
Boy,
really.
isn't that amazing? Hillary Clinton, what an honor to meet you.
It was fun, Howard.
Oh, my goodness.
It really was.
You're something. I wanted you to be president so bad.
Thanks. Thank you.
That's why, I reached out, but I don't know if I went through the right channels.
Did you hear about that?
I did not.
I even went.
Literally, I did not know until.
I went to the New York Times, and I don't do a lot of interviews, so I went to the New York Times and Washington Post, and I was openly begging you to come on the show. I had, it's a weird thing that I'll just tell you this real quick. Yeah. It's a weird thing. There was a guy in radio years ago when I first got in, Lee Abrams, very brilliant guy, and he would talk about the audience, and he would analyze the audience, and he would talk about that he would label the audience. There were certain people who were this, that, the other thing. And then he would say there was also earth dogs. Earth dogs. This is the way he would analyze. And he'd say, you have a lot of earth dogs. It wasn't a negative word. It meant a certain type of guy. Working class guy. This is what he believes. This is what he's doing. And I listened to the research because why not? It's there and it's free.
Right.
So when you were running, and I'm talking about going back even as far as when you were running against Obama, trying to get the nomination, I said, this woman has done it all. Senator, you hadn't been a Secretary of State yet, but you had, White House, you well-spoken, Yale, the whole thing. I knew the whole thing. And I thought, this is going to be some spectacular presidency. In the same way I feel about Bill's presidency. This is going to be spectacular. And the two of them together are spectacular. And I figured maybe if you came in during the 2016 election, I could talk to you like a person and maybe say to the Earth Dog audience, this is a cool woman. She really cares. Maybe you don't get her 100%, but she cares. She's devoted her life to public service. She's a public servant. She likes people. And then maybe, I don't know. Maybe a couple more votes there. Who knows? That was what I was thinking.
But you know what? I think you were right. And I think that I didn't know about it, but I probably would not have done it if I had known about it.
Because of my reputation.
Well, and also it just, in a presidential campaign, the priorities, I often did not prioritize media the way I should have. And I think that's one thing that, Trump would interview with anybody, and in his pajamas they would take him.
Right.
And so he was just a constant presence. And I think I made a miscalculation. I do.
Well, listen, because you're a no nonsense person, you're kind of like, you know what? I just want to get to work.
I know. That's why
I'm gearing up to get in there and really make some moves.
Yeah, true.
But I would see you doing a few other radio shows, and I'd say to myself,
well, all right, look, it didn't happen. Listen, who knows if it would have moved the needle? We don't know. We're never going to know.
Probably would have.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Well, look.
One thing that, I would like her to address, because she was the Secretary of State. We keep hearing this term, deep state, deep state, deep state. Who are these people?
This is a term which was coined by political scientists to describe certain countries, like, for example, Pakistan, where the military and the intelligence services basically ran the country. And so you could get elected, but if they didn't like them, like what you were doing, or you crossed them, you were out. Maybe you'd get arrested, you'd get deported, you'd get accused of something. In one case, you'd get assassinated or executed. So it has a very particular meaning. And when it started to be used by Trump and his associates about the United States, it was so wrong-headed. And I think we've seen that in the impeachment. Who are they maligning? They're maligning career military.
That guy,
Vindman. They're maligning career foreign service officers. They're maligning civil servants. These are the people who run government from administration to administration.
And you know these people.
I know these people. And you know what? They are not all Democrats. They are conservative. They are liberal. They are Republican. They are Democrat. But they put country first.
That's what I was going to say. They're patriots.
Yes. And we need to honor them.
And they are not in any way plotting against the president, but they do have an obligation, like the whistleblower saw, when they see something that is an abuse of power. And let's not mince words. Trump was trying to bribe the president of Ukraine to take action by announcing the beginning of an investigation on an unfounded theory against his domestic political opponent for his own personal and political gain. I mean, you
couldn't write a novel like this.
You can't make it up.
It's
Who
crazy.
would ever think anybody would do that?
Listen, I am so disenchanted with what's going on. Listen,
yes,
Hillary and Chelsea Clinton, you got together with your daughter. You wrote a book.
Yes.
And as I say, I would market this as the Academy Awards of Women.
Thank you.
Who are the women that you, Hillary Clinton, say are gutsy?
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about.
Right.
Why am I yelling?
I don't know.
All right.
We can hear you.
I feel like you can't hear me, so I'm going to say it. Gutsy Women is available wherever books are sold.
Right.
And we know where that is.
Yeah.
I don't have to go through the list. and promotion, I would assume, for Christmas. Why not a Christmas book?
Yes.
It's a good gift
Could you
for Christmas.
imagine in Christmas, you hand someone my book and your book together?
Oh, what a combo.
What a combo.
Well, after this morning, that's a natural.
Come on. I mean, wow. Wouldn't it be something? Well, I am honored to have met you.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, this is exciting for me. I've met Paul McCartney.
He's a good one.
Do you love him?
I love him.
Hey,
Love him.
I heard you loved.
were-
I heard you
yeah.
loved Fabian.
I did.
Fabian. My sister loved Fabian.
Back in the day.
My sister's a little older than me.
Yeah.
I'd say to her, everybody
Fabian.
loves Elvis.
Yeah.
What the hell are you a Fabian? You were in the Fabian fan club?
Tell your sister I was, for a short
Fabian?
period of time, I was the president of the Fabian
Oh,
fan
my
club.
Do you
goodness.
feel
It only had
silly
two
now?
other people in it.
Yeah, do you feel silly saying that now in light of history?
No, because I was so young and he was so cute.
He was your fantasy.
Yes.
Yes.
But of the Beatles, it was Paul.
It was
right?
always Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I go way back with Paul.
What you know what? To me, those guys they taught me more than anyone.
And still do.
They do.
I mean, you put on White Album, you listen to that, you learn something every time.
It's unreal.
It is unreal.
I
And
was thinking of a John Lennon lyric the other day, and I went, "Oh, that's what he meant." I'm
what
just
he meant.
starting to get it.
Yeah, Hey Jude. I mean, think about it.
All of it.
All of it. I mean, I find their music to be so not just a part of my past. Like I have a lot of music that's part of my past. This is like past, my present, and my future.
Were you a rock fan?
I was. Yeah.
You wouldn't go to a Zeppelin concert, though, would you?
No, I didn't, but I went to the first Rolling Stones concert that ever came to Chicago back in the early, to mid 60s.
Are they the world's greatest rock and roll band?
They're amazing.
They
Yeah,
are.
They are amazing.
Because of the amount of material that this band put out.
Yeah. And look, their staying power, their stamina, it's inspirational to people like
It
me.
is. How is he alive?
I don't know.
And how is Keith Richards alive?
That's the more interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to investigate.
But his book was brilliant.
Keith's.
Oh, God, yes.
How do the Rolling Stones stay together after Keith slaughtered Mick Jagger in that book?
Mick is a really pragmatic guy.
Is Mick like Mandela in a sense,
He
though?
doesn't drink, and he works out every day.
Is Mick like, do you know Mick?
I do.
I've never met him. I want
Oh,
to meet
you
him.
would love him.
Where do you meet Mick?
Oh, gosh, I met him first probably in the White House. I don't know.
He came to see you.
When you're in the White House, you can invite anybody to come see you, I
What
guess.
do you say to these people?
I just,
Do you fan out over them, or do you
my
just
mother
be cool?
loved the Rolling Stones.
That's progressive.
So the Rolling Stones were at the Beacon Theater. I think it was a Scorsese filming. So we were invited.
yes.
I brought my mother. I thought she was going to pass out. And you know who her favorite was? Keith Richards.
Oh,
Well,
my
yeah.
goodness.
So because my mother loved Keith Richards, we asked if he would call her on her birthday. And he did. It was like the best birthday she ever had.
Is there a lot of discussion with your husband about whether it's appropriate to call Keith Richards and ask for this favor, or do you just go ahead and do it? I
Just go ahead and do it.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
Because
I'm
we've gotten
uptight
to know
about
them.
that.
We've gotten to know them over time.
And Keith's like, yeah, I'll call your mother.
Keith was great. And then Keith, we were vacationing near where he had a vacation home. He came over and saw my mother. He was
what you mean
terrific.
unannounced? He says, hey, I'm going to come over and say hi.
He knew we were there. He knew
Wow.
we had come, and this was years ago, and he came by.
Does he jam at all, or is he just
no?
He just talks.
Just talks.
Does anyone understand what he's saying?
Yeah, he's quite articulate, actually.
I make the comparison to Nelson Mandela, not on the same level.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, but the fact that Mick Jagger could be in a band with this guy who now badmouths him. That book, Keith just basically says the most horrible things about him.
But look, I
It'd
think
be like if you hung out with Trump after all the things he said
that
about
would be
you.
hard.
Right?
That would be hard.
But Keith treats Mick like he's Trump.
Well, but they've been together for so long. And I think, I don't know, I think they understand each other.
It's unbelievable. Wow. You've seen it all, haven't you?
Not at all. I'm hoping to see more.
You want to see more?
I want to see more. Sure.
I want to see more.
I know. Why not? You got one life.
Yeah, I want to keep going. I'm enjoying myself to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got grandkids now. You want to watch them grow up.
Oh, my gosh.
You have grandchildren.
I've got 3 grandkids.
Yeah.
Adorable, wonderful.
Be honest. How much time can you spend with them before you're ready to run out of the room?
We
actually
spend a lot.
Really?
But I will tell you, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Get ready, because when it happens to you, you think,
God.
oh my God, this is so wonderful, and then you're like lying on the floor. It's
At
so
a certain
exhausting.
age, you can't do it.
I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 4-month-old.
When I look at Alec Baldwin, who's an older guy, and he's got young kids running around.
Does.
How is he doing that?
He's a good sport about it.
He really is.
I saw him a few months ago, and he just has totally bought into it. He is so present. He takes those kids everywhere. He does everything.
Billy Joel, too. I had dinner with him recently, and we had been involved in a charity and blah, 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 blah. And we have dinner. And he's got little babies running around.
He's got little kids.
And he's like, oh, this is great.
I know.
He must have a lot of help.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah,
because he's at Madison Square Garden all the time.
Yeah, I know. It's unbelievable. All right, listen, I got the high sign. You got to go. You spent way too much time.
Thank you so much for giving us all this time.
It's been great, Robin.
I apologize for keeping you so long, but I'm a big fan, and who knows when I'll ever see you again. Hillary and Chelsea Clinton's book, The Book of Gutsy Women. What they're saying to you is there are women out there maybe you'd learn something about. You're sitting there, you're playing video games, and you're not learning anything. This could teach you something. It's available wherever books are sold. I will read this on my Kindle.
Thank you.
I would like to learn.
I hope you will.
I'm going to do that.
I hope you will.
And a special thank you to Janitor John that basically got this couple together, Bill and Hillary.
That's right.
That's right.
Does Janitor John know?
Does he know? Have you ever heard from this guy?
No.
No. Anyway, a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will be back after this, Robin, for a recap. And Madam Secretary, Mrs. President Hillary Clinton.
From your lips to God's ears, right?
Who knows? Maybe you will. Don't run again. You know what? You don't need it. You're not running again. Sit home.
Do whatever you want,
Madam
Secretary.
You would have been fantastic. Screw everyone.
Oh.
They missed out. And let me tell you something. I'm plenty scared after what you said about what's going on behind the scenes and all of the disasters we've averted.
We need a calm, steady hand right now. We got lots of issues. We didn't even get into those. We should talk about those again sometime.
Yeah, come back, will you?
I will.
Come back in about 15 minutes.
Just use this as your pulpit anytime you want to talk.
And just pencil in a free day on your schedule. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.